back to Alicia K Lifestyle. My name is Alicia and I'm glad you're here. Let's have a little chat. Hey guys, what's up? Happy New Year. Happy 2025. This video, obviously from the title you can see, is not a talk through breakdown of one of the garments that I've made. This video is a life update, and before I move on to talking through the garments that I made last year, I really wanted to update you guys on what I've been doing and why I have not posted a video on YouTube in several months. Y'all ready to talk about it? Let's talk about it. As of December 20th, 2024, I became officially a full-time entrepreneur and businesswoman. Say what? Say what? Yes. So, as you know, I am a seamstress. Some of you know that I am a fashion designer, and you also may know that I am a crochet artist as well. And I've been doing that since 2016. All three, since 2016. Well, I was always doing that since 2016 with a job. And so my hobbies were sewing and crocheting, and then eventually I turned it into a business, and it was kind of a side hustle. But now I am a business owner, and I work for myself full-time with Handmade by Alicia, my custom garment design and making, Altered by Alicia, which is alterations obviously, and Creative Crochet, which is my online crochet store where I sell accessories and cold weather items online. Yeah, so now I'm doing that full time, and let me tell you, we're gonna talk about Q1 and how that went, because learning curve, okay? Going from being a business owner part-time and now being a business owner full-time, and every single dollar I make depends on how hard and how much I work. I can't just sit at a cubicle and get money. I gotta work for every dollar. I gotta work. We're gonna talk about that, but first I want to take you guys through my sewing journey and how I made it here. So I'm not sure if I've said it in any previous videos. I just don't remember, so I apologize if I'm repeating myself to some, but I'm going to assume that most don't know my sewing journey. So when I was a young thing, my maternal grandmother, she was a seamstress, and well, by trade, you know, that's what she did. That was her 9 to 5. She also had a husband and 10 kids, but well, 8 children. But anyway, she was a seamstress by trade, but she also had, as did in that time everyone had, a home sewing machine, and she had a fabulous sewing machine. And it was in her bedroom, and no one could go in there. My family is from what is called the country, so when the kids would go, all of my cousins and we would go, my aunts and uncles, nobody could be inside. Everybody had to be outside. The kids were outside playing, chasing each other around, jumping on the trampoline. The men were out back on the grill doing other stuff, and the women, they were on the porch drinking sweet tea and lemonade and things like that. And there would be just a few women, maybe my grandmother and her sisters, inside actually doing the cooking. And so, like I said, the children were not allowed inside unless they had to use the bathroom. We had to stay outside. There was no running in and out of the house. So when my grandmother would go into her room, I would always kind of sneak in there to take a peek at her closet, because she had so many clothes and she had so much jewelry. And I would always be fascinated with her sewing machine. So obviously if we weren't allowed in the house, then we were not allowed in the bedroom. but for some reason she would allow me to come in the bedroom. And so sometimes she would sit at the sewing machine and she'd be doing her thing and no one could touch the sewing machine. Nobody could touch the sewing machine. But she would, when she was done with the straight pins, she would take it out and hand it to me, and I put the straight pins in the pin cushion, and I felt like I was doing something. I really did. And she also would be watching her stories up on the TV at the same time. So it was memories that I will always have and prayerfully never forget. And soon after that, she taught me how to hand stitch, techniques that I still use to this day, which I didn't know. So I'm super grateful for that. Some time later, I went to college and I majored in theater, and part of our requirement for graduation was shop hours. And we had to do set design, lighting design. We had to do theater management, like anything that was involved in theater but not on stage. We had to do those hours. And then outside of that, we had to do more hours. And so I did all of my hours in each shop. But when I had to do the extra hours, I didn't choose to go to the costume shop. I was kind of chosen to go to the costume shop. So I did so many hours in the costume shop. My skills with hand stitching that my grandmother taught me really came in handy. And the professor who was over that, she took notice of that. And then soon after, she taught me how to use, it was a Juki machine. It was my first time seeing something that big. I was like, oh my goodness, I was scared. It was my first time on a Juki, like a professional machine. It was my first time using a serger. Especially when we did the musical The Wiz, not The Wizard of Oz, The Wiz. Sequins everywhere. It was so many costumes, so many different changes. It was a lot. But there is when I fell in love with garment construction and taking it from a sketch to real life and my hands being on it. I really fell in love with that. So I graduated in 2016 with my degree in theater with an emphasis in performance, and I was auditioning and everything and afterwards, but nothing really came of it. And so I started working in retail, and I used to work at this store called Charming Charlie. I think they're just solely online now, but it was a really great store. And before the rules got really strict, we were able to wear whatever we want. But soon after, it was just black. All sales associates, even though I was in management, I still had to wear black. And y'all know me. I'm not going to wear the same black that everybody's wearing. So I went across the street to Joann, got me some fabric. This is 2016. I graduated college in 2015, and so I went across the street to Joann, got some fabric, picked up a pattern or two that had a really funky, cool skirt design, and I made my own blacks to wear to work because I didn't want to look like everyone else. And soon after that, I started making other pieces for church, and people started reaching out to me and saying, hey, I want this custom, I want that custom. And I was learning, but I did it. I messed up a lot, but they love me. So that was that. It was a lot of learning between 2016 and 2019. Those 3 years, huh. But at the same time, I was also started creative crochet in 2016. I was better at crocheting than I was sewing at the time. And so that's when I put up my Etsy shop online. And so I had a lot of fun with that. And at the same time, I was doing craft fairs and vending opportunities around the CSRA, the Central Region, Central Savannah River area. I think that's what it's called. I don't know. Somewhere around Augusta, in North Augusta. And I also started doing alterations because, you know, if you're a seamstress, if you sew at all, if you know how to work a machine, what's somebody gonna say? Can you alter this? Can you hem that? Can you put this button on? And all of those kinds of things. So I was working in retail management. I was making custom garments for people. I was doing alterations for people. and I was uploading my online shop with my crochet goods. I was busy, very busy. In 2018, I left Charming Charlie because I wanted to put my degree to use. I love the theater. I love everything about it. Even the things that I don't like about it, I still love it. And so I didn't necessarily want to be on stage at that time because business was really good, being a seamstress and a crochet artist. So that's where my passion, you know, was at the time. I wasn't pressed to be on stage, but I still did love theater and I wanted to be involved in it. So I went to work at an after-school program for fine arts. And so I was the program director at the Augusta Mini Theater Arts and Life Skills School in Augusta, Georgia. And it is an after-school program, nonprofit organization where we taught music, and we taught dance, and we taught drama, and we taught visual arts. That's the hands-on arts like painting, sculpting, ceramics, like charcoal, all of that kind of stuff. We did digital art. We were doing a lot. We even had academic coaching class, and we had like a whole exhibit. There was a riot in Augusta in 1970, and we had a whole exhibit, and I was in charge of the entire school part. So I was running that thing. So I wasn't a teacher. I was not teaching. No. But I was heavily involved with the classes, the teachers, the parents. Oh my goodness, the parents. I was enjoying what I was doing at the time. And so I started there, like I said, in 2019. And I worked there for a few years up until last year. And my last day was December 19th. I believe that was a Thursday. Yeah, December 19th was my last day. That last week was very hard. I had to tell the kids, because I was there for 6 years. I had to tell the kids, that was very hard. I had to tell the parents, that was, they were threatening me, child. They were, Miss Blair. Yeah, it was a whole thing. It was, yeah. It was hard, and I still do very much love them. And you know, I told my coworkers and my supervisor and my other bosses and everything, and we were like one big family. We really were. So it was hard to leave, and it was gonna be a great shift not seeing the kids every day, but everyone was happy for me and where I was going, because they knew what it was. They knew I was making my own clothes. Like, they would pull up in the car line to get the kids, and Miss Blair, what you got on today? You made that, girl? Yes, you know I made that. Or Miss Blair, my daughter wants to learn how to sew. And we even talked about having a costume class or some kind of sewing class there as well, because that is also a part of theater. So everyone knew what it was. They knew every time I stepped on campus, it was something original, honey. I could have made it that morning. But yeah, and a lot of them even turned into my customers, and some of them are still my customers now, and the love was so great. They still support me. They support me in everything that I do, and I support the kids as well. But December 19th was my last day, which meant December 20th was the first day of being an entrepreneur. So now let's talk about Q1. Q1, let me start off by saying this. I knew it was going to be a learning curve. I did not know how much of a learning curve it was going to be. I had plans, you guys. I had plans of being so much more involved on YouTube. But the business side of being a business owner was kicking my butt. Going from doing this part-time as a hobby or as, you know, a little side hustle, is so different from doing this full-time and legally. Oh, I was not ready for the learning curve. I was grateful for it though. I enjoyed every moment. Truly I enjoyed every moment. It was just a lot to learn. And so my plan was to take January and just solidify my business, get the foundation, the bones together, so everything from there on would be easy. There wasn't hopefully going to be any going back and fixing this or going back and correcting that, you know. I was really trying to get the foundation of my business together. However, those plans did not work out the way that I wanted to. Doesn't anything work out the way we want it to? I spent the majority of the rest of the month of December, after I left my job, working on my December monthly sewing project for 2024 and getting my garments ready for an exhibit that I was going to be a featured artist in North Augusta. It was the Artists of Color exhibit. And like I said, it's for artists of color, any medium that you did. It was in North Augusta at the Arts and Heritage Center. And I was trying to get all of that ready because we had a date, a drop-off date. And I did not have anything that I could put in the show that was available for sale, because everything that I made, that I had on hand, was for my body type exactly, like fit like a glove to me. Unless you were my body type, maybe smaller, then you maybe need some alterations, but pretty much I didn't have anything available to sell. So I had to make five garments that were art ready, not just something pretty and flowing in the wind, but that looked like art to me and that I deemed good enough to be in an art exhibit. So that's what my hands were busy doing. And then after that, I don't know, come January 11th, it was like the business was just flowing. The business was flowing in. I hadn't really told many people on social media. My family and my loved ones, they knew what I was doing. But there was no marketing, there was no advertising. I was just living day to day like I was when I had a 9-to-5, and it was just coming in. Y'all, I did so many alterations in Q1, especially in January. It was just coming. It was just coming at me. I also had my first bridal client in January. Who knew? I was trying to take January off, but God had other plans, and so it was a lot. And January taught me time management. And so I can be quite stubborn and kind of a perfectionist when it comes to doing what I want to do and making sure the plans that I have are executed the way I want them to be executed, but everything in God's timing. So obviously I was trying to get the foundation of my business together, and God was like, no, you need to learn time management with a full-time business. In February, for the Artists of Color exhibit, there was a first, second, third, and a few honorable mentions, and a best in show with a cash prize for those places as well. And I won third place. For one of my garments called the Cape. And I was super excited, and I was blown. I was like, what? Like all this beautiful, amazing art hanging on the wall, and you want one of my pieces to win? I was just so surprised. I mean, I was flabbergasted. And then after that, after I won third place, then this beautiful young lady from South America, she came up to me, and we were just talking about my garments, and because she works in the fashion industry, and she flies to New York a lot, and she was telling me, like, this stuff that you're making, this is really gonna be something. Like, you're on the right path. Keep going with this, because this is different, and this could really be something if you stick with it. And a few minutes later, she said to me, I want to purchase this garment. I said, what? So not only did I win 3rd place, she bought the garment that won 3rd place. And so I was overwhelmed. Number one, because I'm not really good at surprises, and so I was still in a state of shock. Also, there were so many of my family and loved ones, even people from when I worked at the Augusta Mini Theater, they came to support me. I was overwhelmed with love and shock. And so when she said she wanted to purchase that item, I was blown away, because that was the first item that I ever sold, that I ever put on display, that combined both sewing and crocheting. I'm sure there's a picture or video here somewhere of the cape. This is a cape that I designed and made and added my crochet design onto it. And I have a lot of pieces like that because that's what I like to wear. But this was my first time putting it on display for others and putting it on sale for others to buy. And the first time that I put my original art out there, something that I have not really shared with others in that way before, the very first time I put it out there, not only does it win an award, but now someone wants to purchase it and wear it. You guys, I don't know how to explain it, but it felt like someone was reaching their hand out to me saying, yes, yes, Alicia. I'm gonna be honest, it felt like God was giving me a nod saying, Alicia, this is what I want for you. You're going in the right direction. It felt like a nod from God. So when I put in my resignation letter last year to leave my job, I already felt a sense of peace and calm from the Lord that I was doing the right thing. But this, I mean, I wasn't looking for no confirmation, but if you want to give it to me, I mean, the Lord definitely did. And so I was just, even now just thinking about it, I'm like, wow. So when I go back and look at pictures, I say, wow, that really happened. Someone really thinks that much of my things, that, wow, not just my skill in making the garments, but my design. They want the creativity that God gave me in their closet and on their bodies. Wow. Also in Q1, I did a series on both Instagram and on YouTube as well, breaking down some of my favorite looks, some of my favorite handmade looks over the years. I did 30 days, so there are 30 videos. So if you want to see those things, I talk about the design and the description of all of the garments. I talk about how much everything costs. I talk about where I get it from. I talk about where I got the fabric from and all of those kinds of things. And I really enjoyed breaking down all of the information for those garments. One of the ways that I really enjoy giving back to the community, and I've been doing it this specific way since 2018, is through participating in career days at elementary schools in my area. And so I've been doing that, like I said, since 2018. But this year, a school in Atlanta reached out to me to be a part of their career day. And it was amazing. It was really amazing. It was at Dwight T. Howard Middle School, the elementary school that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. went to when he was in elementary school. But like now, they renovated it and it's a middle school. There is so much history in that school. It is beautiful. It was the fanciest middle school I've ever seen in my life. Also, I did an interview for Canvas Rebel magazine. You guys, it was so much fun. It was great. It's a wonderful article. I wouldn't consider myself an author or a writer by any means whatsoever, but I've truly enjoyed answering the questions and talking about my journey as a seamstress and the influence of my parents as a child and how they handled having such a strong-willed creative child that was not like their first child. I'm a second born. Shout out to all my second borns out there. And how others can participate in art and creativity in the community and keeping it going. So I'll make sure I'll put the link down in the description so that if you want to read the article, you can read it as well. It's a great read. I'm not saying that because it's me. It just truly is a great read, and I love to tell a story. I love to tell a story. So I think it's a great read, easy read. Please read if you have the time. Creative crochet has most certainly been keeping my hands busy. There are so many ideas that I have, and I just have to narrow everything down, not do too much at all. But let me be honest, y'all, I am doing the most. I'm doing the most. I'm doing a lot. I'm probably doing too much, but creative crochet has definitely been keeping my hands busy. I have had so many custom orders, just like out the wazoo. And I'm also in the process of updating my online shop because people are looking at it, checking for it every single day. And I just feel like I don't have enough product on there. So I'm uploading more on that, which means I actually have to make it because it's a one-man show. It's just me. There's no apprentice. There are no employees. It's just me. And so I've been working on a lot of prototypes as well. I'm planning on having a collection drop a little closer towards the fall. And so it's just a lot of prototypes going on right now, in addition to getting ready for the vending markets and the craft fairs that I'm doing as well. You know, so creative crochet is, she's not some little unwanted stepchild over there. She got me going to the post office multiple times a week to drop off packages to send to customers. So she's doing great. Also, I'll be teaching crochet classes here in Augusta, Georgia next month. So I'm super excited about that. So when I say creative crochet keeps me busy, she keeps me busy. So that's how everything was going in business. It was topsy-turvy, all over the place, but in a good way, in the best way possible. And January was a very high income month. It was a very high income month. And I'm not so oblivious to how business works to think that every month was going to be like that, because February was nowhere near as high as January. But then March came in like cha-ching, you know. So I was like, I appreciate this journey and learning how to go with the flow and not stress myself out and put so much pressure on myself that every single month has to have the same financial goal. Because 3 months into being a full-time business owner, girl, calm down. Calm down. Anyway, moving out of business onto the personal side, Q1 was full of a lot of things. I started taking ballet classes. As I said, I've always been a very creative person, and I was a theater major in college, and so of course that came with some dancing as well. I've always been, I wouldn't say I've always been a dancer, but I've always been a natural mover. I was a cheerleader and captain of the cheerleading team in high school, and I was in the step team for several years in elementary school, and we went all over, you know, step competitions and things. And I was on the liturgical dance group at my church. I've always been a natural mover. I enjoy moving. When the High School Musical movie series came out, they had the DVDs that had like the second DVD in the back on the other side, and it would be the behind the scenes film, and it would show the breakdown of the dance moves to all of the songs. And I would learn all of the dances to all of the songs for High School Musical. The Cheetah Girls, it wasn't the exact same, but I still learned all of the dances because I watched it 111 million times and learned it over and over and paused it and rewinded it. And I've been a natural mover. I've always been a natural mover. And after I graduated college, I took ballet in college and I loved it. I loved it, loved it, loved it. And I believe that's my favorite kind of dance. And after college, I became a choreographer for the liturgical dance group at my church. And then I was being called on more and more to do solo dances all across the local area. And I wanted to take it more seriously. I wanted to get into more techniques, so I prayed about it. And then one of my really good friends, she reached out to me and said, hey, there are these adult ballet classes. Would you be interested? That's why I love the Lord, y'all. Can't nobody tell me God does not hear my prayers, because I prayed to him. I said, God, I really want to minister when I dance. I just don't want it to be like 1, 2, 3, and 4. You know, like I actually want to minister and people to actually feel your presence and be a vessel for you to work through when I'm dancing. And I want to take it more seriously. So I really want to get into a technique class. And look, just right there on a platter for me. So I super love my ballet class. And guess what, y'all? We have a recital coming up. A what? A recital. Y'all, I am 32 years old. So this is the adult class, the adult ballet class. There's also an adult contemporary class. And I believe there's like adult dance team that maybe travels and performs and things like that, which I'm not a part of. I just take the ballet classes. But yeah, the other classes, they're all for kids. Like little babies all the way up to high school. I am 32. I am grown. I'll be 33 this year. But I will be in a dance recital next month. And I'm excited, y'all. When I was younger, my sister was the one that took dance classes, and I was in baseball and different street races and things like that. Like I was the athletic one, and she was in the dance classes. She got to do all the girly stuff, and I got to do all the sweaty stuff. And so there's always been a passion for learning dance and performing dance with a group of people throughout my childhood. And so now that I have this opportunity, it feels like I'm satisfying that desire from when I was a child. And I'm so excited. I'm nervous because there'll be a lot of people there for these kids, and we're gonna get up there on this stage like, who grandma is this up here doing a plie, dégagé, rond de jambe? Like what? But I got my ballet shoes, I have my ballet slippers, and we're gonna get our costumes very soon. So I'm excited. Speaking of the arts, I also spent a lot of my time in Q1 supporting my loved ones, especially my little loved ones that are still in grade school, particularly the ones that go to fine arts schools. You know, this is the time for recitals and things like that. So I supported one of them in a play, supported another one of them in a dance recital, and then another one in a musical. So I really enjoyed being there for them, the same as people in my community were there for me, which is probably why I work in a creative space now, because I've always had a community of support. Also, my little niece, my little 14-year-old niece, my little basketball star, I supported her, and that was a lot because that was a huge financial support. Okay, these little basketball games that they have, these little $5, $6, $7, $8 add up per game. And so they had an undefeated season, and then they went to the championship and won. And y'all, whew, them ticket prices got up to like $20-something. I said, Lord, whew. But I enjoyed seeing my baby girl win, and so now she's off to track, which is more money. I've been spending a lot of time with family, for good and the unexpected. Of course, with life, people are born and people die. So we've experienced a bit of that, and it's brought us closer. And I've been spending a lot of time with my family, and it's made me appreciate them more, and it's given me not necessarily a new perspective on life, but maybe a shift on the things that I want to do, the thirst that I have to get them done, and also enjoying life a little more and enjoying those around me a lot more. I also took some time off and went to Nashville for a mental break, because it did become a lot at one point. But now I really appreciate it, because I was kind of kicking myself in the butt a little bit, like, you know, you should be doing work, you know, you should be working 24/7. I really had to get out of that frame of mind. Entrepreneurship, business ownership looks like working 24/7, sometimes 25/8, and I really had to break out of that. So even though I was kind of kicking my butt a little bit while I was on vacation, I'm so glad I took the time off, because now it's prom season. Now we're in Q2 and it's prom season, and there are no days off. There are no days off. And you know what's so cool about my prom season this year? I don't have any girls. All my clients are boys. I might share. I might share in my shorts once I'm done with them, you know, the full look comes together. But I definitely needed that time off. And now that I'm really busy, I appreciate the time that I took off. So that's what I've been up to. That's where I've been. My goal for Q2, now that I have a little bit of a handle on being a business owner, is to be more involved here on YouTube. So my next video will be getting back on the train of my talk through videos of the garments that I made for my monthly sewing projects next year. I'm super excited to share the details of those garments with you all. And I also maybe want to vlog a little bit, maybe. How did your Q1 go? Let me know how it went in the comments. I'm curious about what you guys have been up to. I know when I came back in January of last year, I said I wasn't gonna take no more breaks, but I wasn't planning on it, y'all. I really was not planning on it. And I think it was a good break, because I was able to focus on what I needed to. But now I'm back, you guys. I'm not gonna say I'm gonna upload a video every week, maybe every 2 weeks or something like that, because I gotta be out here getting this money, you know what I'm saying? But I am back. I am excited to be here with you guys. So leave a comment, let's chat, let's have a little talk while I'm at the sewing machine. Thank you so much for watching this video, and I hope you enjoy the rest of your day. Bye.